Mr. Saad Abdul Noor was a great family friend and like an uncle to me.
Yes.
After that, I was elected vice chairman of the party, one of the 5 vice chairmen. And then the last year, I said, well, we have to leave these posts for younger people. We want young generation to read it. No, you must, no. I refuse completely. The 5 new vice chairmen should be young people between 40 and 50, but not a man in my age. It's not fair. Okay, I will just be member of the high steering committee. I went out to the bathroom and came back. I found, what happened? We elected you honorary chairman of the, oh, thank you. No administrative job. I'm just a political writer, like a godfather of the party, not in the sense of mafia, godfather.
Yes, I understand in a good way. Yes. Now, among the many issues you're tackling at the Wafd Party, which was the most sensitive one?
My specialization, my hobby, I will give you some of the books I made in the last years.
Yes.
They're all about foreign politics and the plots against Egypt. The internal life of Egyptian politics, with all due respect, is not my interest. I have always been chairman of the foreign committee, foreign policy committee. I had nothing to do with either economics or, of course I know of them, but it's not my hobby, it's not my interest.
So now, as a specialist in the foreign affairs, how do you see our performance so far?
Great. Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is a great man, is a gift of God. I mean, telling you. I'm not being hypocritic. I sent him 5 personal letters, like an open letter, criticizing and attacking him for several things. We're not to talk about it now.
Yes.
In open newspaper. But he's a nationalistic leader, very intelligent, very sincere to this country.
I'd like also to ask you about the Wafd participation in the parliament. Now, what's the biggest issue that the Wafd is tackling?
Wafd is practicing or applying or trying to apply the traditional Wafd agenda from until now. Liberal.
Yes.
The 1990 revolution was independence of the Nile Valley, not just Egypt. Political democracy, social justice. And this is what WAFD is doing.
Now,
whether or not, I mean...
Yeah, more or less, yeah. Now, what's the most challenging issues for you?
For me?
For you, for you as a person, what, of course, in terms of politics, what's the most challenging issue for you?
Egypt will break the siege around it and will manage. We have done that before and we will do it now, and they have no doubt about it.
Finally, what's your dream?
My dream?
Yes.
Is to meet my God the way I am now, with a clear conscience.
And for Egypt?
For Egypt, Egypt is my life, is my heart. Egypt is everything. I returned because I could never, ever imagine being buried anywhere else.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed Azz Al-Arab, Honorary Chairman of Al-Wafd Party. Thank you very much for this interview.
And thank you for your time and for your sharp questions, and I'm at your disposal anytime.
Thank you very much. Thank you. it's time for the Eye of Horus. In this segment, we're coming to you from Islamic Cairo, from the area of the Hussein and Al Azhar. And today we will be visiting part of the complex of the 15th century AD Mamluk Sultan Al Ghuri's property. So now let's look at it together. One of the interesting features of Qubbat al-Ghuri is the Maq'ad of Sultan Qunsuh al-Ghuri. It's a place where the Sultan used to come while overseeing the construction of his building. Also, it was made for him also so that he can meet with the public to listen to their complaints, like a sort of a mini court. Now, this is the maq'ad of Sultan Qunsuh al-Ghuri. It's like a mini court where people from the area came. Either the Sultan himself presided the meeting or the hearing to know what's going on, the requests of the people, if they have any type of a complaint that they'd like to file, or sometimes even the judges themselves of the four Islamic Sharia schools, they also came to look into these cases as well, because during the Islamic era, the main laws which were implied were the Islamic laws, and we had four schools of Sharia, or which is the Islamic law. We have Abu Hanifa, or the Hanafite. We have the Maliki, the Shafi'i, and the Hanbali. And these representatives of each school, they sat together and listened to the cases, and they made a decision on it. And many times the court was presided by the Sultan himself. Now it has been turned into a VIP guest house or rest house for the delegates to sit in. قبة السلطان الغوري includes a variety of aspects. It has in it al-Maq'ad, which is the area where the Sultan will sit when visiting the mosque and the Darih. Also, it includes the Darih, which is the mausoleum, the place where he's going to be buried, or he should have been buried, but because he was killed in the Battle of Aleppo and his body was lost, so right now his Darih houses other bodies but not his own. This is the mosque, and we can see how beautifully decorated it is. We can see the beautiful marble with its various colors, the black, the red, the white, and they are all interlocking together with various geometrical patterns. We can see the Quranic verses in beautiful Arabic calligraphy all over the top area, which separates between the marble and the limestone wall. Also, the limestone walls are beautifully decorated with geometrical designs, floral motifs, as well as beautiful Arabic calligraphy and verses from the Holy Quran. We can see a lot of the stalactites which are on the corners. The dome is a masterpiece of art, as well as the Qibla Yuhim. The hall we're in now is now a concert hall, but originally it used to be a khanqa. A khanqa is an area for the Sufi Muslims. So Sufis, they are the ones who live in seclusion, worshipping God and also praising the Prophet Muhammad. And this was a room dedicated for their worship. Right now, as we can see, it's been turned into a concert hall. It's beautifully decorated. The ceiling is a masterpiece of art in addition to the beautiful marble walls. Now it's time for the science page. It's time to meet with engineer Ghada Amr, who will talk to us about her latest research. Ghada, welcome with us. First of all, please tell me the thesis itself and the topic that you've chosen, the title of it. Also tell me why did you choose it?
Okay, my topic is comparison between the Egyptian code and the Eurocode and design of one of the structural elements, which is the beam column joint. I choose this topic because beam column joint sometimes is poorly designed, so being poorly designed can lead to the failure of the structure if the loads on the building were different from the normal loads. So it's a very critical structural element that we need to give care more about.
Now, you compared the Egyptian code to the European code. I'd like to know, are we different?
Basically, they share the same concepts. However, the factor of safety can differ from one code to another, depending on which country, the code, and that's it. So.
The beam joints. Now, would these differ from one building to another according to the size or the usage of it, whether it's going to be steel building, glass building, or is it standard?
I was dealing only with a concrete structure, so it can differ according to the load it's subjected to. Can be different, and the location of the joint itself can be different. So every joint has its own way to design.
Because many of us might not know much about the joints. So would you tell us more about these three types of joints or the location specifications, whatever the term is that would determine the location, and tell us more about that so that we'd understand.
Okay, there is a corner joint that exists at the top of the building where a beam intersects a column. So this is a corner joint. There is also a rooftop joint which exists when at the top of the building when two beams intersect and with a column. So this is the exterior, and of course there's the interior one where two beams intersect with columns, up and down column, and it can also exist at the side of the building when two columns intersect with a beam.
Now I'm going to ask you a question that might sound naive to you, but I'm really curious. Now, would the shape of the joint itself, is it a standard shape, or there are a variety of shapes for the joints themselves?
No, it depends on the shape of the beam and the shape of the column. Sometimes the beam is deep, so it can be designed by a different way than if the beam and the column were having the same width. So it differs by the width of the beam and the width of the column itself.
Today we're commemorating the memory of celebre poet Farrukh Shusha, a prominent poet whose voice left a unique imprint on the airwaves of Egyptian radio for over half a century. Shusha passed away on October 14, 2016, at the age of 80. His death marks the end of a remarkable career spent bringing the depths of classical Arabic poetry to the hearts and minds of generations of listeners. Shusha's famous program, لغتنا الجميلة, Our Beautiful Language, broadcasted on the public radio service. Also, Farrukh Shusha was a celebre Egyptian poet who hosted the popular television program ثقافى, a cultural evening from 1977 through 2006. Later, Shusha entered the field of television. Throughout his media career, Shusha was associated with cultural and literary programs. In 2005, Farrukh Shusha was named Secretary General of the Arabic Language Academy. He wrote many books on poetry and the Arabic language, among them the first volume of Shusha's collected poems was published in 1985 and the second volume in the year 2000. Shusha was awarded many awards for his life achievements, including the State Encouraging Award for Poetry, Kafafi's International Prize for Poetry, the Saudi Yemeni Prize for Poetry, and the State Evaluating Prize for Literature. On October 14, 2016, Farrukh Shusha passed away at the age of 80. He was buried in his village, and his funeral was attended by the elite of the Egyptian society. Farrukh Shusha had many contributions. He was a university lecturer on Arabic language and literature, as well as a member of many cultural committees. But it is truly his poetry and much beloved radio programs for which he will always be remembered.
باسم الشهداء، باسم الشهداء، باسم الأحرار الشرفاء، أنبل من أنبتهم هذا الوطن الغالي من أبناء، باسم جموع صدت غول الموت وداست طاغوت الظلماء، باسم شباب رفعوا الراية فامتدت طالت كل الأعناق وضجت كل الأصوات هاتفة هاتفة قد صار لهذا الوطن سماء.
By this, we come to the end of this episode of Nile Magazine. Until we meet again, it's goodbye.